with a population of 200 million, we are not doing anything with our population. And of course, when you look at corruption, the corruption industry is one of the biggest industry. People who have a lot of funds, they have a lot of idle funds in banks, in billions. They are not investing the funds. And of course, when you look at the fact that people are being discouraged from keeping their funds, in the bank. Look at the treasury bills. How much do you get the treasury bill? Look at interest rates. So people prefer to keep their funds at home. And I think we don't have an effective framework for monitoring transactions in the forex market. A lot of people are keeping dollars at home. They just wait, they are speculators. They keep it at a time, waiting that in the next 6 months, the price will go up so that they can trade in forex. So we need a lot of fiscal discipline. And it's not just by saying it. It has to be in practice. And I hope that we realize that, the consequences are many, because more people will lose their jobs. Factories will leave the country in droves, and there'll be more unemployment. And then it's going to affect the political stability of the country. So I hope in the next few months we have a framework that can be, that can address the fundamentals, not just paying lip service. And I think it's time for government to have strategic consultation with the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, because they have a lot of ideas to offer. It's not just the Minister of Finance or the CBN alone. These are the people who are involved in manufacturing, so they can give a lot of advice to the government, even in terms of waivers. Maybe for some of them that want to import raw materials, they should be able to buy, the dollars at a kind of control rate, not just not buying at the regular rate in the market. So we need to consult with the manufacturing sector. I believe they have a lot of ideas to share with the government.
All right. I have Usman Musa from Abuja.
Good evening, Mr. Ayo.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
What I want to make, the contribution I want to make is to let people realize that we have tried almost all the economic theory in the world, and it's not working. So our advice, we use the psychological method. And the psychological method shows that we have to realize that an average Nigerian man is a survivor person. So no matter the principle you bring, it will not work in Nigeria unless you start doing the right thing by arresting the people and locking them in the cell. No matter the principle you bring in Nigeria, it will not work. In the whole world, Nigeria has the highest number of people that have this survival instinct. So any policy you bring, there are people that are waiting to survive on it. How will it work? Let's go back from 1960 up to now. We have tried almost all the principle in the world, but it's not working.
Thank you.
And you think it will work?
Thank you. I think democracy will not allow us to arrest people and to lock people up arbitrarily.
Yes,
this is democracy.
Yes, this is democracy.
Opted for it, and
yes, but I want to chip in on something he said, and he's talking about the manufacturing sector. There are several indices that must drive that sector. Number one is power. We have to address these fundamentals. When you talk about manufacturing, what are we generating in terms of power? Most of the companies, foreign companies, are closing in Nigeria and moving to our neighboring countries, Ghana, Benin, Togo, and the likes. And we're talking of the SMEs have practically died naturally. It is the SMEs that drive the economy. When we are the average barber, the hairdresser, and the rest of them that are supposed to use power, that are supposed to use electric, cannot be able to get electricity. So it's a big fundamental. So when we continue about exporting, how do you export? Because, which is why it is much easier that the goods and services or goods that are coming from outside the country are cheaper than the one we are manufacturing here. And that's why you're having the Chinese as flooding everywhere, flooding the market. So they cannot be, the local manufacturers cannot compete. Go to Aba. Aba is supposed to be the hub of, what do you call it now, the SMEs, shoe making, dressing, clothes, and the rest of them. Most of them cannot be able to run those businesses. And we have said it time and time again. There is a need for us to be able, if we can get power right, you'll be shocked that this economy will just kickstart. And that is why I think this current government should focus on. Focus should be on power. How do we be able to generate power? How do we be able to distribute enough? We cannot even distribute what we have. Because the capacity, that one is generation, another one is distribution. We generated about 6,000, and the district cannot take more than 4,000. So what do? So that is the critical area. Once we're able to address some of these issues, then you know that we are home and dry. But if we don't, we'll continue going on this slide. And finally, our economic team should also be very, very strategic. I'm talking of the economic team of this current government, led by the Minister of Finance. I'm talking of the CBA, the governor, the finance minister, and all relevant. There was something that Obasanjo did in 1999 when he took over. We have practically had the same problem. But he was able to bring some eggheads, bipartisan. It's not about a political party, bipartisan. That was when he brought people like Okonjo-Iweala. He brought, what's this woman? What's her name? Obi. Somebody like, yes, Ezekwesili. He brought the central bank governor. He brought even the guy at BP, the former governor of Kaduna State. He brought all these young people together, and we formed the core team of the economic team, and we saw what happened along the line. I think this government can still do that, looking beyond the political party for rescue effort. But the way we are going, AY, is more difficult buying tickets to fly out of Nigeria now. You know the cost of tickets? Nigerians now go to Ghana, they go to Togo, they go to Benin to buy tickets in order to travel out of Nigeria. Because the cost to travel now is almost double what it costs for somebody in Ghana to do. It's a big problem. And all the airlines now, foreign airlines, are now insisting that you must buy their tickets in dollar. If you are going to buy it in Naira, you are going to pay 2 or 3 times almost the equivalent of what. So it is a big issue here. And I hope that the president will be able to get this resolved as soon as possible.
All right. From abductions to explosion, it appears this January is getting tougher and rougher than expected for Nigerians. A devastating explosion rocked Ibadan, Oyo State's capital, on Tuesday night. After visiting the scene, Governor Seyi Makinde addressed the people of the state, stressing that the explosion killed 3 persons and injured 77 others. The governor blamed the explosion on illegal miners who stored explosive devices in one of the buildings in the Bodija area of Ibadan. Governor Makinde said investigation is ongoing and all those found culpable will be brought to book. Let's hear from the governor.
Search and rescue operations will continue until all lives within the vicinity of the blast are accounted for. We are aware that aside from the immediate perimeter of the incident, people as far as 25 kilometers away may have been affected physically or psychologically. We have therefore put the Emergency Operations Center, which is being headed by Professor Temitope Alonge, to coordinate all search and rescue efforts. I would like to appeal to our people to remain calm as we do everything possible to provide succor to everyone concerned. Also, let me use this opportunity to appeal to anyone still staying in any of the houses within 250 meters of Ground Zero to move out to government-provided accommodation until we check the structural integrity of the buildings in this area. While at the same time, unscrupulous elements who may want to take advantage of this disaster to carry out any form of looting should be warned, because I've asked the security agencies to deal decisively with anyone trying to loot. So they've been placed on high alert to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order. The further update we can provide at this time is that we have information regarding the company that was using that residence to store explosives. rest assured that all that were involved directly and indirectly in bringing this tragedy upon us will be brought to book. Just as we were about starting this press conference, I received a call from Mr. President. I want to specially thank him. He has approved that the National Emergency Management Authority be on ground, and I can confirm they are already on ground working with us locally here. Number of people affected hasn't changed, about 77, and what has changed is the fatalities, from what we got yesterday. And this morning they got another corpse, so making 3 fatalities so far.
Three fatalities, 77 badly injured. It's now looking like it's a country of anything goes. I don't know, residential area, that a company will be there, and that company will have the audacity to store explosives.
This is a very sad, another sad day, in Nigerian history. When I heard that news yesterday, in fact, I couldn't have enough sleep for so many reasons. Ibadan is to the southwest, what Kaduna is to the north, what Enugu is to the east, and what Port Harcourt is to south-south. It's an ancient city, and we all have spiritual attachment to that city. The population is about 4 million people. And we know that Ibadan is not the modern city that is well planned. When you go to Ibadan, you see the houses, So any explosion in that kind of environment is bound to have fatal consequences. Many things personally, were running through my mind. I said, this thing is happening, Baba Akande just was to have his birthday. I said, so what if Mr. President had attended that event yesterday, Then I asked myself, Bodija, that is where the cream of the society in Ibadan live. Then I said, this thing is very close to the governor's office. Then I asked myself, why should anybody in his right mind keep explosive right in residential areas? Then I asked myself, these explosives, when they are taken up and down, the miners usually employ security men, policemen. Like the mining community in Oyo State is Iwajowa local government. It's a bit far from Ibadan city center.
It's far from Ibadan.
Yeah, and we know that when they go, they go with armed security personnel. It means that the security, institutions are aware that, these explosives are stored, in people walking in and out and taking videos. So destroying evidence. Because when security, so I saw some people packing sheets and all sorts of things there. So when security people get there, the kind of evidence they are supposed to help their investigation are already being destroyed because that place was mobbed by, and nobody could do anything about it. So it's quite frustrating.
Here we're having this kind of, it's like a threat to national security because we don't know who can get hold of this, and this can be, fall into the hands of the wrong people with bad intention. But access to this kind of explosives, and you can just see a lorry entering your neighborhood, parking, and they are dropping things. You don't know what they are dropping and everything. This is very, very despicable. We don't know how all these arms got into the system.
Yes, I totally agree with you. But to me, this is total failure of Intel. Intel, and we say it time and time again, the way our security agencies go about their job leaves much to be desired as far as I'm concerned. Because you cannot have a company stalling and storing such explosive devices in a home. I'm sure it didn't start today. It must have been doing this for a long time. And you have security agents within the state, and they close their eyes to it. DSS, Civil Defense, Nigerian Police, NIA, all of them. that means that somebody somewhere has compromised everything. And that is what we'll be looking at. Because when such investigation, you have to go to the root of the problem, not just looking at it from the surface. Yes, the company has been identified, but I want to ask, what do they discuss as security meetings, the one that they have with the governor? If a governor of a state does not, as he rightly said, Bodija is very close to the secretariat. But I stayed in Ibadan for about 4 years. That where this issue is close to government house. That is near the governor's office. Now, this effect, if you see the area view of the devastation and how far it went, you'll be shocked. It's part of what you can see. These are the impact. That is the kind of thing you see in Gaza. Those are the kind of you see that when you say, Israel bombed some part of Gaza.
You need to see the sight of vehicles.
You need to see vehicles. There were vehicles that were on top of other vehicles. They were placed far away from Bodija. So places that you least expect. That is the effect. So I think this should be properly investigated.
These are high caliber explosives.
It is high caliber explosive. And time and time again we say that illegal mining is thriving in Nigeria. In Oyo State, in Nasarawa, and part of it is that most of the terrorism going on in Nigeria has been linked to illegal mining. Don't forget that the former president at a point has to block certain planes flying into certain states in the north, because we came to realize and hear that there are some airstrips in some of these northern states where small planes just come, drop, pick up gold and other things and fly out of the country. I hope that it is not just because this person in charge, as far as I'm concerned, the man that was named, I heard he's from one other country that is not a Nigerian, from some of the things, but there are a lot of rumors, so you don't know what to pinpoint. But I'd rather leave that. I hope that even his boys, where they are living, we can be able to identify where they are living now and start making search, start searching and start looking if some of this explosive is not also in it. The last time I heard something like this was during the bomb blast at Ikeja. Remember the Ikeja cantonment bomb blast 2001, where the
January 27th.
Yes, where we had that serious explosion. But this must be totally investigated. More people should be brought into, not just security agencies in Oyo State. At the federal level, we should be able to send in we must have a forensic look at this. And now start looking at most of these mining areas, especially within Oyo State. I know that a lot of mining is going on in Oyo State. In fact, at the time, some communities in Oyo State came out to protest about what was happening within their communities.
Miners.
Yes.
They wrote petition. Petition to this company.
Yes, they wrote petition. Most of them are Chinese companies. Most of them, from the video that we saw in the past few years, most of them are Chinese. And you continue to ask, who gave them the license to do this? Even if they were given license to do that, were they being monitored? Because they wanted to give a license, another thing to make sure that all the necessary cautions are put in place to make sure that they don't get themselves in bet. Look at what has happened.
It's important to know whether there is a link between mining activities and terrorism.
For Nigeria, there's always been. I said it before. There's been linked, serious link.
Population in Ibadan. So we need to dig into this and look at the impact on national security.
Just hold your breath and let's quickly take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We're looking at the explosion that rocked Ibadan, somewhere around Bodija, the capital of Oyo State, yesterday. And we can't just continue this way, because if we have people that They are staying in residential areas. You wouldn't know. Landlord association, they hold meetings regularly. You see trucks, buses entering some houses, dropping some things you would not know. Everybody in the sense of, as we said earlier, failure of intelligence.
It is failure.
Or some guys have been compromised in Oyo State.
The second,
because how do you now, from all, yes, our borders, they are porous. So how do you now smuggle this thing, take it around until you get to your destination, and they will not tell you that, no, you can't keep this in a residential area.
Time and time again, we've spoken on this platform that we are having serious trust deficits between the citizens and our security agencies. You'll be shocked that some of the people living in this area have an idea of what is happening. But most often than not, they find it difficult to give information to the security agencies. Because one, it could be traced to them, and there have been instances where some of this information given them have been traced to them, and some of them lost their lives. So most often than not, unlike what happened in other parts of the world, here we see something, we say nothing. And there's been this campaign that see something, say something.
Yes, that's the strength of their own intelligence.
That is the strength of their own intelligence, because their own intelligence is built on the people. It's not that the security agencies have all the way with that. No, they don't. Most of the people that perpetrate some of this evil live within them. They live with the people. They know them. But a situation where you know that your life is not safe, and I've said it on this program at times, why? In London, you'll be shocked that that 80-year-old woman that is sitting by the window.
She's looking.
She's looking. She's looking. She sees a very strange face in the area, like a black man that's normally blacks or some undesirable element that will describe you. He says he can sketch you.
Yes.
The first thing she will do is pick up a phone and call the police.
Suspicious movement.
There is a suspicious movement that somebody, as you are moving, you'll be shocked that within 2 minutes you see patrol van, and they just park and say, "Excuse me, can we know you?" And the rest of them, she has given that information, and you'll be sure, you'll be very sure, because she knows that call cannot be traced to her.
This exact thing happened to me in a place they call Tulsa, Oklahoma. You don't have a lot of blacks there. It's a predominantly white environment. So I just took a walk one morning, and everybody was there.
When they see this huge black man, they say,
this opened their window.
It happened to me in New Jersey. It happened to me in New Jersey. And I was just like you said, very early. I like taking my walks. Very early, by 5 a.m., I was already taking my walk and the rest of them. And before you knew it, police just put by you. Excuse me? Although the U.S. police don't easily stop you for them to stop, definitely an information has gone. The U.S. police don't just stop; they just don't stop you. So,
all right, Festus is calling us from Plateau State. Thank you for joining us, Festus.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in Nigeria we like talking. In Nigeria we like talking. The ability for us to respond is very weak. All these companies, they are not just there overnight. It's because something happened, that is why they are now talking. They are the operating. They made a mistake now. There are other companies now whose stores are still impacted. It is the one that is being exposed that you are talking about. You know others that are within even Lagos here and in other places. Look at the problem we have right now. We are selling gas. Gas is not supposed to be sold in residential places. We're supposed to have gas stations like filling stations. Now they are selling gas in shops. Immediately there is any explosion, I will start looking at that area too.
Thank you, Festus. Thank you for your contribution. One other terrible thing is that our ability to respond to emergencies. Hospitals were rejecting people. And I'm telling you, those 3 people that they said, I'm telling you, by the end of the day, it might be more than that. And the number of people that are injured. If they were taking people to the hospitals, and the hospitals were like, some for commercial purposes, who is going to pay their bill? No, we're not interested. We're rejecting people.
Because some of them will have survived if there was immediate response to their medical needs. But because there's no health insurance, So the hospitals look at it. If they incur bills,
So who's going to deposit?
who will pay?
That will be the
Who will pay
priority.
money. Yeah. But in other countries, whether you are a
Wickedness.
poor man, whether you are a cobbler, whether you are a rich man, if you collapse on the street, the next thing,
As long as you're a
because
citizen,
he knows that
there's
there's
a
data.
there's a national
you have
health
to
You know,
know
there's a
insurance.
national ID
citizen.
card, they
So as
can
a
trace
human
you.
being.
So somebody, and you know, when about 100 million people invest in health insurance, maybe only about 10% will be ill. So the government has enough funds in reserve to take care of the small population that can have, emergency. And if this thing had happened, let's say from 10 o'clock, it would have been worse. Because in most places in Ibadan, Lagos, big cities, they create artificial gates. They put, security.
Yeah.
So you are entering a place, let's say around 10 o'clock, the place is locked. You are looking for the security man, you can't get him. Sometimes, maybe he has gone somewhere to drink. And you are in emergency, you are taking somebody to hospital, you are just to get out from your street, you might spend 2 hours. So when we are talking about security, it's not just about people carrying gun or gun. Our society is organized and designed in a way that it makes us to be vulnerable. And it's important to know who owns that house. Was that house rented to the company or owned by the company? If there is a landlord and you give your house to somebody and you don't care about what happens there, then that landlord should also be liable.
We should call Governor Seyi Makinde that we have to get to the bottom of this.
Yes,
We must see to the prosecution of whoever owns that place,
Yeah,
and it should not be swept under the carpet.
yes, the governor has assured. I will commend the governor with the way and manner he came as quickly as possible.
Immediately yesterday.
To respond. His
was at the
response was
site.
prompt. I think that's the former commissioner of police in Lagos. If I'm not,
Osheni?
yes, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know whether.
No.
But I know that he used to be a special advisor
Yes,
to
on security.
On security to one of the Oyo State governor. I don't know whether it's the present one. But the government responded as quickly as possible because part of what fuels some of these things is rumor. When this thing happens, you hear some people say, "Oh, they've dropped a bomb, and there is war in Ibadan." A lot of things start flying until the governor quickly came and said it was a chemical mining somewhere somebody stored that this thing. That was able to break down some level of tension. But we've gone beyond that now. Now we are at the point of investigation. This shouldn't be like so many others before it, because we have a very, very short memory in this country. Things happen, and you just say you set up a committee, investigative panel. After 1 week, this one we sweep it away. We move to another. Then something takes over the covers of newspapers, television houses. We must be able to investigate it so that it does not happen. There are so many houses, not just in Ibadan, in so many other parts of this country where some of these things are being stored. And that is a big danger, especially in the north. Especially in the north. The mining going up in the north, in Jos and so many other parts of the north is Zamfara. What is fueling the terrorism in areas like Zamfara is mining.
Okay, Olamide is calling us from Ibadan. Thank you for joining us, Olamide.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry?
Olamide, you're on air.
He has to lower the volume of his TV.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Olamide, can you hear me?
I can hear.
Yes, go ahead, please.
All this situation happened at Ibadan. We are
I think he's getting feedback from his monitor. Just step away from your TV set and talk. So
it's important for us to know explosives are usually imported. Most of the time imported.
we don't manufacture.
The end users certificate. How did they bring those things into this country?
And most of the security agencies that
if miners need to use explosives, should they keep those things at home? Dangerous. The explosives are also war, instruments.
I'm telling you.
Should they be kept? Anybody can just keep anything at home. Private homes.
People now,
You bring it, to your home, and then it's just there. It can just happen, and people go up and down. Maybe people set up worship places very close or restaurants.
I'm telling you.
And they don't know what
the difference between this one and the one that happened in Maryland is that this is a military barrack.
Yeah, this is
and
how
this
a private
is like an armory.
It's an
An armory.
More or less
that
keep
takes
an
place to
armory, a
development.
private home. So you ask yourself, what is security? You know, the state governor is there, is not aware. The DSS is there, the police, the civil defense, Amotekun, and how many of these other things, private armory exist across the country, including Lagos. That is a challenge. That's a big challenge for us.
Ladi is calling us from Kaduna State.
Yes, Ladi.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. This is my name. I'm calling from Kaduna. Yeah. According to English saying that he who goes are borrowing. Hello, he who goes are borrowing, go are sorrowing. We have mortgaged nations to foreign nations like the Chinese. So we have no right to stop them from whatever they want to do. They are everywhere. Come to Kaduna, go to Nasarawa, Abuja.
Thank you. It's still our country, and we must do everything to keep it safe.
Yes, it is our country. There are a lot of things that other countries can't tolerate.
Nigeria is Nigeria.
Yeah. There are a lot of things other countries can't tolerate that we tolerate. That is the problem. And until our relevant agencies do the right thing, we'll be finding ourselves in a situation like this. But this is our country. As I've said it before, see something, say something. We must be able to bridge that trust deficit between our agencies of security and also the citizens, so that they can also volunteer information willingly. And we can do this effectively. There are instances where numbers were given. There were instances in the past. Remember when we were growing up, where there used to be these buses. What is it called? Those drop buses. You just write anonymous and just go and drop.
They can't know it all.
They will know. They will know.
We can help them in gathering their intelligence, and we help them.
That is it.
The House of Assembly, if you are representing a particular constituency, this is part of your responsibility.
Yes.
It's not just you get a new car, you hold meetings, you share rice. What is happening in your constituency that constitutes a threat to the livelihood of that community? So we must have information. The people coming to your house every Christmas to eat rice and all that. That's not, to be a good representative. You must have information about the kind of people living in your area. And then you pass that information to the government.
They also have free access to you.
Yes.
Okay, because if they have difficulties, they need to security, but they can send to their representative.
All right. To keep Abuja and other parts of Nigeria safer, all hands must be on deck. As such, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has held a crucial meeting with the force management team and commanders of police tactical squad. The meeting was convened to map out strategies to check activities of bandits terrorizing various parts of the country. Also, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has vowed not to rest until his government stamps out terrorism, banditry, and every kidnapping and every agent of darkness is crushed. Gentlemen, soundbites from the Inspector General of Police and the Commander-in-Chief himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But we've been grappling with this in the last 8 years, and we thought during the election, thoughts came down, and now we have insecurity across the country, and it's moving dangerously close to the seat of power.
It's not moving dangerously to the seat of power. It is within the seat of power. It's in Abuja. And you remember vividly, some months back, the governor of Niger State raised an alarm.
Governor Bago?
Yes. He raised an alarm. He said that the bandits, terrorists, kidnappers have practically taken over Niger State. And they are almost circling Abuja. He said it. From Suleja to Zuba, which is Abuja. How many kilometers? Very few kilometers. So it is practical. They have been in Niger State and have been, even within Niger State, Abuja is practically surrounded by Niger, Nasarawa, and Kogi State. Those are the major. And these guys have been within. And the question you ask yourself, when this alarm was raised, what did our security agents do? It still goes back to what we are saying. What did they do? Did they follow up on what that alarm that was raised by the governor of Niger State? Now they have entered the city. The most annoying part is that we don't know the socio-economic and political problem that this level of insecurity is bringing to the seat of power. One, Abuja is our capital. That is our political head. That is where you have all the embassies. Now, the president has been going around on a daily basis, flying across countries, trying to seek foreigners to come and invest in Nigeria. The vice president currently is in Davos, Switzerland, begging foreigners to come and invest in Nigeria. But with the kind of news coming out, who will want to come and invest in a place where there is a high level of insecurity? So this is a big challenge, and I believe that the security agencies should be able to do. And let us put this. This is squarely on the footstep of the Nigerian police. We shouldn't mix this up. The Nigerian police, by the 1999 Constitution, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, gave the power for internal security to the police. The armed forces, the army, the Air Force, the Navy, their own primary responsibility is to guard against external aggression. So, being as the case, now this issue has come up. Good enough, the IG, I saw this afternoon, I saw that there was a press conference that I had. I saw them moving out a lot of equipment and the rest of them ready to go into this. But this has been happening. You forgot it. I hope you've not forgotten the Abuja-Kaduna the embarrassment that area has been causing. So it is a big challenge, and I hope that...
So they're back now?
Yes. I hope that the challenge, unlike what happened during the Buhari, where the president gave a standing order to an IGP to go into Benue State. He refused. The IG didn't go. And the president was not aware. Until one day he now asked, my friend, I think I remember that I asked you to go to. But they have to know that there is a new chef in the saddle. Ebola Ahmed Tinubu is not like Buhari. He's a man that wants things to be done. And he has said time and time, okay, if you don't get your job done, you will go. And that is it. But this issue of, look at the young children being killed. Look at the ones, a family of 5. 5 late girls. One of them was killed. Just not even, there was one before that. One was killed because the parent could not pay. Then another 13-year-old. But let me drop on this. There is something that is also happening that we have to be very careful of. The issue of crowdfunding. If you understand what I mean. A former minister came out recently to say, his friend has been able to raise 50 million to be able to help. Such issues shouldn't be on public domain. Those are not things that we put on national newspaper or put on television and the rest of them. It has to do with security. Now, because of those things, some of the bandits have now raised their from a Niger day to 700 million.
Okay, let's take this breather. We'll be right back after this time out.
There is a small problem. Despite all the entertaining ads we've created for you, some of you still haven't tried our services. Come on. First of all, we are a licensed microfinance bank. Sorry about that. For instance, you can open a business account with us and get our POS with it. It's good for your business.
99.99% reliable.
I love it. Our card, it dey work.
My money no dey hang.
You can open a business or personal account with us in minutes.
Ai na bude na daga wannan kujera.
Our customer care is available. Abby? So, when it comes to reliability, security, convenience, and speed, you only need one bank.
Join millions of happy customers. Download the MoneyPoint app or find an agent near you to get started.
This ad is a MoneyPoint ad. Don't forget that.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout on TVC News. Wale Adeye. Now, when you look at the situation, the Federal Capital Territory hosting foreign nations, hosting a lot of, foreign investors and everything, it's not something that the next thing now, if the United States want to issue their travel adversary. I don't imagine that Abuja will be there. And if Abuja is there now, that means it's a big problem.
It's a big problem that we are facing. And we are impressed that the IG is summoning policemen, task force and all that. Very good. But what is important? It's what we want to see results.
Results.
We have read about anytime something happens like this, the IG will summon high command.
Sometimes the IG himself will relocate to that state,
relocate to that place. Those things have become photo opportunism. People are tired. We want to see results. Because this thing has been happening since 2009. And it's getting worse by the day. So when we are talking about people having a stronghold in River Niger, that is a very dangerous thing. River Niger crisscrosses 9 states. And some of these states are riddled with terrorist organizations. Mali, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso, from its source in Guinea. River Niger that flows into Niger State. That river is enough for them to use small vessels to bring in whatever they want to bring into the country. And the tributaries of River Niger goes to Niger Delta. So it means that if they have strong gold on River Niger, they could actually threaten our oil capability. So River Niger is very close to, Abuja. We are having major crisis of terrorism in Kaduna. We are having in Niger State, we are having in Benue, all the frontier states around Abuja, the federal capital territory. So it's cause for concern. But at the same time, I know that this is an inherited problem. The government has just spent few months, 6 months or thereabout. So they need time. But they must also know that Nigerians are desperate, to see fundamental changes. They are concerned about the fact that when their children go to school, they can't go to sleep. They cannot rest. They are anxious to see whether it's going to come back or not. I know this thing is shrinking Nigeria. Many Nigerians are going back to their communities. It's creating a fractured state. When your children graduate from school, you don't want him to go and serve in the north. If he graduates in the north, you don't want him to go to the south. When you are sending your children to secondary school, you want them to go to the next primary school, the next secondary school that is in your neighbor. The university, the next one in your neighbor. People don't want to interact any longer, and it's going to affect, the kind of unity that we actually need for the country to see itself. And some people are shrinking to their local communities. People don't want to. I don't know. They don't want to work elsewhere. Coppers don't want to go out of their territory. So so the concept of having a Nigeria where people have confidence in each other, learn about each other's culture, is being it's been eroded. So it's a very dangerous thing that you see a family of just go to people's homes, not even highway now. They went to their homes and they took them there.
In estates in Abuja.
These are very cruel people. And we must realize that terrorism is motivated by 3 factors: economic, criminal, and political. The political angle is there. So the government needs to look at these 3 layers. So at the end of the day, we don't allow it to get out. It was building up for several years, and we just believe that everything is normal. Now it's getting out of hand.
What kind of audacity is that they're not on the highway? They won't wait for you on the highway. They are not going into estates, going into accommodations and to pick people.
Yes, several.
They would have been watching you for weeks.
Several estates in Abuja is not safe now. Estates used to be some of the safest within communities in the past, but now they go to estates. They kidnap people. They pick them. They not just pick one person. They pick entire family. That is the most annoying part of it. They pick an entire family and now start asking for. But there is something also we have to also look at. What level of intelligence sharing do our security agents also do? Very key. Is the police sharing intelligence with NIA? Are they sharing intelligence? Is DSS sharing intelligence with Nigerian Army? Is Nigerian Army sharing with the Navy? I was at one of the, I think the last Army engagement in Ibadan, where I was one of those that was invited by the Chief of Army Staff, and I attended. One fundamental thing that I noticed at that conference is that all the 3 the chief of staff, they are classmates. I think that's the first time we're having that. They are class, all of them are saying, in fact, very, very close. That the chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Lawmakers, said that this is going to be one of the best level of chief of staff we are going to have. Unlike what we were having before. You know, there was a time that the NSA, one of the NSA came out that the greatest problem he's having is that the service chiefs are not even cooperating within themselves. So the intelligence sharing should go a long way. Most often than not in this country, what we do is we react rather than prevent. That has always been our challenge. In most other countries of the world, let me give a classical example. 2 days ago, somebody rammed in Israel. Some guys rammed a vehicle into a crowd in Israel. Why? Within 2 hours, all of them were picked up. In the US, you see people, it's not that we don't have insecurity in some of these countries. Of course, we've seen instances where certain individuals who carry guns, go to school, kill people. But you can be rest assured that within the next 48 hours, they will be caught. They will fish them out. What has happened to all the ones within the court? When last did you see anybody in court? I'm taking it further. Most of the Boko Haram people that were arrested, that the government told that they were going to prosecute, how many of them have been prosecuted? Because when you don't make example of people, then it becomes a problem. The security people, some of them are going to be there. Some of these people that are on the list. You've forgotten? You're forgetting that in Dubai, some people were caught up. Yes, for financing terrorism. They were prosecuted, and within 2 days, 3 days, they were jailed. How come that we are not doing same here? Rather, what we are doing, amnesty. It will never solve the problem.
All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you. Wale Adeoye, thank you for your contribution. And Chief Chris Kendewandu, I want to thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. On YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world,
breaking down intricate economic and financial matters.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrencies.
We unveil and analyze complex policies of the CBN and other government parastatals as they affect your everyday life, keeping you a step ahead every time.
Okay. This is incredible. Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate facts from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
When Nigeria's unity was at stake after a devastating civil war, the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) was formed in 1973 to foster national cohesion. More than 50 years after, the scheme continues to serve the purpose through mobilization of Nigerian graduates below the age of 30 for the one-year compulsory national service. Watch NYSC Hack Hour, a weekly program showcasing activities of the scheme and exploits of Youth Corps members nationwide. On TVC News every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Soon coming.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, where the black gold continues to flow and fuel Africa's largest economy, where the line between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Oil, gas, politics, development and community issues all are highly valuable commodities in the Niger Delta. How do they combine and how can they work together to spawn a new era in the Niger Delta? As he probes deep to analyze issues in the region from angles never before explored. Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, time doesn't just tick away. It's a countdown to political decisions that shape our world.
This country must move.
Imagine the impact these decisions have on our lives. Some are consequential, others may leave us intrigued or baffled.
You will have no better friend and partner than Nigeria.
Step in and feel the frenzy like never before. Join me every weekday for an hour of fact-finding interviews where questions cut to the core. What does Tinubu has that other 17 candidates do not have? I will dig in to get to the heart of issues, from local politics to global insight. Join me as I unearth the power plays, jaw-dropping revelations and the unfiltered truth. This isn't just politics, it's unraveling the stories that matter. Brace yourself for Politics Tonight every weekday at 8 p.m, where every decision echoes along the corridors of our lives. Politics Tonight, only on TVC News.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on the program Beyond 100 Days. I'm Abosedi Adeniraduremi. You can join the conversation now on X using the hashtag Beyond 100 Days and at TVC News NG. Illegal miners are likely responsible for the explosion in Bodija area of Ibadan. That's coming from the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. More than 2 persons have now died and 77 others injured, and many buildings are now in ruins there. Governor Seyi Makinde says culprits would be punished.
Search and rescue operations will continue until all lives within the vicinity of the blast are accounted for. We are aware that aside from the immediate perimeter of the incident, people as far